Okay, so we're on page 8 of your journal, or page 8 of your digital journal. So our notebook this year, or our interactive journal, you'll have this copy and you'll be able to click here and add information about yourself. You can decorate your notebook by inserting images onto this page. You can see our expectations on page 2. Make sure you sign here to state that you agree that there's no sharing. If you're absent, you need to make up your work. And if you have any questions, you will see me. I will check it every quarter. And then we have our table of contents. And when you're in presentation mode in the top right hand corner, if you click on present, you can click on any of these numbers and any of these tabs. The tabs will take you to the first page of that unit. The numbers will take you to that corresponding number. So our first journal page starts on page 8 on our interactive journal, as well as our hands-on paper journal. So this unit, we're going to talk about the vocabulary. So counting numbers that you learned in elementary school. That's the first set of numbers that your elementary teachers taught you way back in pre-K and kindergarten. It starts with 1, 2, 3, continues to go. It doesn't include 0, and there are no fractions or decimals with natural numbers. That's what we're going to call them in 7th grade, natural numbers. So all of those natural numbers plus 0, when you include 0, those are now called whole numbers. It includes 0, but it still does not include fractions or decimals. All of the whole numbers and their opposites are called integers, but there's still no fractions or decimals. Any number less than 0 is a negative number, and any number bigger than 0 is a positive number. 0 is neither positive or negative. It is a neutral number. Okay, so over here on the right-hand side of page 8, we have additive inverse. Additive inverse is the sum of a number and its additive inverse is 0. So if I have negative 5 plus 5, my answer would be 0. Negative 10 plus 10, the answer is 0. Opposites added together will give you 0. Multiplicative inverse, or the reciprocal, multiplying a number by its reciprocal. When you multiply a number by its reciprocal, you get a product of 1. So if I have 3 over 1 times its reciprocal, 1/3, that would give me 3 over 3, which simplifies to 1. Absolute value. Absolute value is the distance between a number and 0 on the number line. So the distance from 8 to 0 on the number line is 8. There are 8 spaces between 0 and 8. Likewise, the absolute value of negative 8 is positive 8 because there are still 8 spaces from 0 to negative 8 on the number line. Absolute value is always going to be positive. And then you have opposites. Two numbers that have the same distance from 0 or the same absolute value, those are going to be called opposites. You see, the absolute value of negative 8 and the absolute value of 8 are both 8, so they're opposites. Same goes for 14 and negative 14, 29 and negative 29, 1042 and negative 1042. Those are opposites. Okay, so now on the left side of page 9, in the small box, if you have the paper copy, you'll see the small box right here. That's our natural numbers, or our counting numbers. We're going to call them natural numbers. So that starts with 1, 2, 3, 4, and continues to go on. All of the natural numbers plus 0 are called whole numbers. All of the whole numbers and their opposites are called integers. So we have negative 3, 0, 4, 52, negative 40, 14. All of the integers and fractions and decimals are called rational numbers. A rational number is anything that can be written as a ratio. A rational number is anything that can be written as a fraction. So you've got the first 5 letters of rational numbers is ratio. Ratio is the same thing as a fraction. So we have negative 3.5, 0, 6, 10.5, 3/10 repeating, which is the same thing as 1/3, negative 1/2. Any decimal that is terminating, like negative 3.5, it ends, or repeating, 0.3 repeating, you've got this little vinculum above the number to indicate that it's repeating. Those are rational numbers because they can be written as a fraction. If a number does not fall under any of these categories and cannot be written as a fraction, then it is an irrational number. Irrational numbers are non-terminating and non-repeating decimals. It cannot end and cannot repeat, like 0.629783468, and you'll see this little ellipses that indicates it continues to go on. The irrational number that we will deal with in 7th grade is called pi, and we will use 3.14 to estimate pi, and we'll use that in our geometry unit once we begin dealing with circles. Okay guys, this is the beginning of Unit 1, beginning of 7th grade math. Make sure you get your journal notes filled in if you have the paper copy, and we will pick up tomorrow with comparing and ordering integers.